Timna, chapter 19. Lentils and more lentils, Timna said as her fingers felt for the hard little rocks mixed in among them. She raised her eyes to look at Zeruiah, searching through her own bowl. Zeruiah lifted her face to Timna's. Once they would have joked about the lentils, laughed over them, but there was no laughter today. Zeruiah's eyes looked as if she hadn't slept well, and Timna knew her own had dark circles beneath them. The day had barely begun, and already it felt long as they continued working in silence. Timna could not stand it any longer. Zeruiah, she cried, I know what Shem and Japheth and Ham are doing. They no longer believe that we will ever see the earth again. I can't bear it. She covered her face with her hands, and her words were muffled. I fear I am losing faith too. No, Zeruiah cried. You mustn't. You can't. Zeruiah threw her arms about Timna, upsetting the bowls of lentils. She buried her head against Timna's shoulder. Without your faith to help me, I will lose the little hope I have. Please, Timna, she begged. Timna wept, and the two held on to each other. After a while, Timna sat back. Both girls had stopped weeping. Zeruiah sat on the floor cushion, looking at the spilled mess of lentils. We better pick them up, she said. Timna began to help her, and as she picked up a handful of lentils, something suddenly became clear to her. You didn't know when you tumbled out what was happening, did you? She was speaking to the lentils, and Zeruiah watched in amazement. You poor things, you thought you were lost in some strange world, but here I am scooping you up. You didn't dream my big hands knew where you were all the time. She let her handful of lentils fall into the bowl. There you go, back where you belong. Timna looked at Zeruiah. That's it, Zeruiah. It's like the lentils. No matter what it seems like or how long it takes, God knows where we are, and he will bring us home safely. Timna wiped the wetness from Zeruiah's thin face. Whatever I said before, I really do believe that God will bring us to land again. I'll never complain about lentils again either. This time, Timna could smile, and Zeruiah with her. Mehetabel burst through the doorway just as Timna finished picking up the last of the lentils. Land, she screamed. Father Noah has seen it. Like a finger of lightning running through her, Timna felt a surge of hope that lifted her to her feet. Hurry, she cried, grabbing Zeruiah's arm. Together with Mehetabel leading the way, they ran up the walkway to the ladder leading to the window ledge. Father Noah stood at the open windows with his arm about Mother Abihail's shoulders. Her mother-in-law's hair covering had blown off, and her long hair whipped in the wind. Come, see my children, Noah shouted. He moved to make room for them. As Timna climbed the ladder, she saw Shem, Ham, and Japheth further down the ledge staring out the windows. Her heart pounded as she reached the top, and Mother Abihail drew her close to the window. The sight that met her eyes was like nothing she had ever seen. We have landed on a mountain, Father Noah explained to the girls. See how it slopes and rises and peaks? It is a great, wide mountain, larger than any we knew on the old earth, but it is a mountain. Such a fine mountain it is. So many peaks, strong and beautiful, isn't it? He said. My dearest husband, Abihail said, it is certainly the most wonderful mountain in all the earth. She laughed and added, and whether there are any others, we don't know. Oh, yes, yes, this is the finest of all mountains. Timna's joy and wonder overflowed. The mountain was the highest, the widest, most awesome she had ever seen. Its great slopes and peaks stood outlined against the blue sky. From the level place where the ark rested, everywhere she looked, she saw the grand shapes of the mountain. Shem had come to stand beside her. Shem, see, she said, a mountain big enough for 3 mountains. Oh, I'm so glad, my husband. But Shem turned away, and then he began to sob. On his knees, Shem bowed his head before his father. Father, I have sinned. I didn't believe we would ever see the earth, ever see a mountain again. I thought the Lord God meant for us to live in the ark on the waters because we were so few. Forgive me, Father. As Shem wept, his brothers joined him, kneeling in sorrow before their father. Tears ran down Noah's face. My sons, I knew that your hearts were heavy and your spirits fainting for some sign from the Lord God. We have seen what no man has seen before and lived. The long days floating on endless waters have tested us all severely. Noah placed his great hands on his sons' heads. You have not lost faith in the Lord God, but faith can stumble in the darkness. The Lord God, in his kindness, has sent us all fresh hope today. Who could miss such a sign, such a mountain? Come, my sons, this is a day for great joy. Noah lifted Shem to his feet and embraced him, and then Ham and Japheth. Tears of joy ran down Timnah's face. Shem hugged her and then swooped her up, put her on his shoulder, and carried her down the ladder. At the bottom, he set her on her feet and gently touched her face. You never lost faith, Timnah. I should have listened to you. Timnah smiled at him in spite of her tears. Well, husband, I will make sure you do that from now on, she teased. As she followed Shem, she noticed that the ark no longer rocked or rolled under her feet. She still limped, but now it wasn't hard to walk on the smooth wood of the walkway. Her heart wanted to dance. Frowning, she pictured dancing with the others. With her limp, her gait must have looked more like hopping when she had danced in circles with Zeruiah and Mehetabel. One day it might heal, but until then, she couldn't imagine dancing again. But then neither had she imagined a mountain so grand, so huge as the one they had come to. Father Noah declared a feast, one that would last the rest of the day and beyond. And all of us will march to the window 3 times before this day is through to gaze at the mountain the Lord God has given us. Tonight we shall see how the stars shine down on it. Come, wife, this is a feast. Let us have cakes and wine to begin. Ham, bring your flute. Japheth, fetch your pipe. And Shem, it is time you took up yours again. With his kinnor in hand, Noah began to play. Timnah had almost forgotten such feasting existed. Her mother-in-law made every dish she could think of with dried fruits, vegetables, dried mutton, and salted fish. Nuts, pickled onions, beets, almonds, breads, and sweets were set before them. On each of their marches back to the window, Father Noah played, Sing to the Lord of heaven and earth, a song of praise. And Timnah sang with all her heart. They waited until the stars were out before they began the 3rd march. It seemed like a dream come true to Timnah. Great shining stars filled the night sky above the mountain. Noah stood close to Timnah and Shem. See, my children, he said, the same stars shine from the day the Creator made them. We saw them out that last night before we entered the ark, and we see them now. They are the same stars. Only the earth they shine on is fresh and clean and new. Who could not praise such a God? At last the feast was cleared, and a tired family told each other good night. Timnah and Shem started down the walkway to the room, but Shem had one more thing to do and left her at the doorway. Thief and Mangy had followed Shem and Timnah, but now Shem was taking them off to the sheep pens. You 2 are sleeping with the sheep tonight, Shem said. The silly sheep will probably be restless now that the ark is still, because they have finally gotten used to being rocked to sleep. He opened the gate and shooed the dogs in. One day you will guard them well. Tonight, just be there with them, he ordered. That should be enough to keep them calm. Thief settled down on a pile of straw, and Mangy rustled in close by. That was a feast to remember, Thief said. Timnah, Shem, Mehetabel had tossed them morsel after morsel. The singing had been great, and once or twice he and Mangy tried joining in, but their howls had sent the humans into bouts of laughter. If only we could have looked outside, Thief, Mangy said. How grand the mountain must be. I remember the hills from home and the little cold streams we used to splash across. This one must have many streams and trees and wildflowers. I can hardly wait to see it all. Mangy sighed and rested her chin on her paws. Thief stretched himself out and let his whole body relax under the straw. Now that we have the stars and the sun back in the mountain, I guess it won't be long before we get to see it. Praise the Creator. Mangy stirred and said, If you hadn't been so bold, we might not be on the ark. Thief shifted his paws and resettled himself. I don't know, Mangy. I felt like we had to come. After we heard Noah's warning about the coming thing called the flood and the ark being the only safe place, I wanted to be on the ark. He didn't say anything for a long while, and Mangy wondered if he had fallen asleep. Maybe the Creator saw how much he wanted it and gave us both a place on his ark, Mangy said, mostly to herself. Thief raised his head. Maybe. I don't know. But what I do know is that being here has made a new dog out of me. Who would have thought we'd ever be given the job of guarding sheep? He lifted a paw and licked a last bit of sticky fig from it. Think of it, Mangy. No more rummaging through garbage. No more wondering where the next meal will come from. It's a whole new world out there. One I can't wait to run around in, Mangy said. It seems like we've been on the ark forever. Mangy curled herself into a circle, and neither of them spoke after that. Soon, the baaing of the sheep, still moving around, lulled her to sleep. Thief closed his eyes. His simple heart was full of gladness. How good the Creator was.